I am back after a very extended break, and I'm ready to talk books. Welcome to this House of Books. My name is Ashley. I love to talk all things books here. And yeah, I didn't mean to take a huge break. This channel is relatively new. That wasn't part of the plan. I do also have a homeschool channel, so if you're interested in secular homeschooling, that link is down below. And I took a long break from there too. I did start back a few weeks ago on that channel, and I started sharing some of our curriculum stuff for this year. And that has been good, and that was a good step into making some videos again. And so I thought, okay, let's test books again. I love to read. Anytime I have some free time, I usually am doing something with a book. And I love having this space to talk about books. For a while, my homeschool and book content was all on one channel, but the book stuff was getting lost in the homeschool stuff, which is great for my homeschool stuff, but not my book stuff. So I'm back. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try it a little bit differently, and we'll see what happens. Now, to catch up just a little bit, it is halfway through July as I'm filming this. As of right now, I have read over 50 books for this year, which is absolutely fantastic. My main goal this year was 80 books. As of right now, I will be succeeding that. I still have many unread books on my shelves. I was trying to cut back on buying books a little bit. That has not happened. But you know what? I absolutely love having all kinds of books that I can just go and pull off of my shelves to read. So, oh well. I'm not planning that this video is going to be very long. It's just kind of like an introduction back into making videos here. But I do want to take this video as an opportunity to just share some favorites that I have read this year. So out of the 50 plus books that I have read, I have pulled off 5 books from my shelves that I have read and that I really enjoyed. I have given them either 4.5 or 5 stars, and they are books that will stay on my shelves for a long time. I'm not super strict about giving books 5 stars. If I thoroughly enjoyed the reading experience, then I'm gonna give it 5 stars. It doesn't have to be like the world's greatest literature. It's all just about my experience during reading it. So let's start with the shortest book that I have on this little pile here, and that is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I have heard of this for a while, but didn't have a big interest in picking it up to read it. And then there was a book club that I did pick it up for, and I'm really glad that I did. It packs a punch into this little book where you are following a group of women, but one young woman specifically, who are trapped underground in a bunker. They have no contact with their captors. There are always men, but there's no talking back and forth with them. They don't really know why they're there. They've been there for a while. Something happens one day and they are able to escape, but what meets them outside? It's really fascinating and interesting, and it is definitely one that is going to stick with me forever. Just the questions that come up in this that aren't necessarily always answered. So, I really enjoyed reading this. Another one that I have is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. I have had this one on my shelf for a long time, and I finally picked it up, and I'm so glad that I did. So in this, you're following a town and group of people that is located on the side of the River Thames. There are 3 girls that have gone missing in the river, and so it's following those different stories and the people all connected to it and the people in the town. I just thought that the way that this was written and the people and the kind of like interwoven stories. I thought it was really, really beautiful. I really enjoyed this book. At times it seems very mythical, and you're wondering, is this like kind of magic stuff coming into the story or what? So I'm really, really glad that I picked this one up. Let's put a romantasy in this little stack of books. I hate this cover, but I thoroughly enjoyed this reading experience. This is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So in this, you are following Saris as our main character. She one day opens a gateway to the Fae realm, and Kingfisher here is the one who takes her back. And the story continues from there. I thoroughly ate up this whole story. Book 2 is coming out in November, I believe. There are different covers that are coming out, and I have that pre-ordered as well because I don't like this one. But the story was amazing and absolutely what I wanted in a romantasy kind of book. All right, this next book totally took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to love this as much as I thought. It sounds really weird, the premise of the story, and it is, but somehow the author was able to make it work. So I have Shark Heart, A Love Story by Emily Habeck. This one, you're following a guy as he is literally turning from a human into a shark. It's really weird. It's weird. But in this version of our world, you can either be born as like a different animal, or you can turn into an animal while you're alive. So it's weird, but the way that it was introduced, I just thought was so fascinating. And it's a really, really quick read. Like, there are pages like that. And so it's not like a daunting story, which is good because it's weird, but also really, really well done. So like I said, yes, you're following a guy who he is newly married. Basically right away, he starts having some weird symptoms. And so he goes to doctors and finds out that he is turning into a shark. And so what does that mean for him? What does that mean for his wife? What does that mean for family around them? You get a little bit of other backstory throughout this, and I just thought it was a really cool, interesting story. And then I decided to put a nonfiction onto this list, so I have The Small and the Mighty by Sharon McMahon. If you are feeling a little down with history and current events, this is a good one to pick up, and it does frustrate at times that some of these stories have to exist, but the way that it is told is done so well, and it does inspire hope. So Sharon McMahon is Sharon Says So on Instagram. She is fabulous to follow. I thoroughly enjoy her take on things. She writes in this book 12 different stories of kind of the unsung heroes of American history. They are not the ones on the front lines of history books, but their stories are still so important and did inspire other people in history that might have that bigger name in the history books. And it really just kind of inspires, teaches in a really fun and interesting way. There's some kind of like intertwined stories throughout the way also, which I thought was brilliantly done. All right, so those are the 5 books that I have. I do have a whole series that I want to just kind of showcase. I am currently right now wanting to read series of books closer together. I am notorious for picking up the first in a series, reading it, really enjoying it, having the next book in the series, but by the time that I get to it, I can't remember what happened. And so then that reading experience in that second book is kind of diminished because I am spending so much time trying to remember what happened. So, especially with some of these fantasy, sci-fi kinds of books, if they are in a series, my goal is to read them more closely together. So, this year, in just a couple of months, I read all of these. So this is the Artifacts of Uranus series. The first one is Trial of the Sun Queen. I heard about this series from somebody on Instagram who was just starting to pick it up and read it herself. And so I was reading it, kind of putty reading it alongside her the whole time. And it was just so much fun. What really, really hooked me into this series, I'm going to hold up the first page, and it's the very first sentence. Yeah, I was hooked after that. So this, you are following a woman who has been locked up in a prison with her siblings, and kind of their story. How did they get there? And then what happens? In the first one, she is taken from the prison and has to compete in a series of trials to possibly marry a king. And so what does that mean for her? Why is she there? Why was she taken from the prison to do this? And it's basically like you make it through or you die. So it was absolutely fascinating. The rest of the series continues. So the second is Rule of the Aurora King, and then Fate of the Sun King, and the very last being Tale of the Heart Queen. So this series I read with my eyeballs, which is impressive because I am not reading as much with my eyeballs anymore, but this, I really wanted to take my time and enjoy this series, and I absolutely did. All right, like I said, this isn't going to be a super long video, but that's okay. I just kind of want an introduction back in. I am actually, right after filming this, going to start the next video, which is going to be a reading vlog. I do really enjoy making reading vlogs, and so that is definitely something that I want to continue on this channel. Some of my other videos are going to be kind of changing a little bit, just to kind of fit me and my time and my space here. So follow along as I try to get this up and running again. As always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll be back for more soon.